That's his girlfriend. You've probably read the stories this week.
It's time to get flirty. Between the funny, the awkward, and the heartwarming, we'll take a look in this video at the biggest flirting moments in sports history. But first, a simple reminder on how to enter our brand new giveaway. We will be giving away either an iPhone X Max, the new iPad mini, or a MacBook Pro. It's all your choice. So be sure to leave a like, comment the keyword, subscribe, and turn on notifications to enter the giveaway. It's really that simple. First, Iker Casillas and his girlfriend. Former Real Madrid and Porto goalkeeper Iker Casillas was on top of the world when the Spanish national team won the FIFA World Cup. Casillas was the starter on that team and was also awarded the title of the tournament's best goalkeeper for his performances that included 5 clean sheets. After all this, it's understandable that Casillas was ready to celebrate with his girlfriend. His girlfriend happened to be interviewing him after the World Cup had concluded, and Casillas not only thanked his family for supporting him, but also kissed her on the lips before walking off at a surprise moment. After his performance in the World Cup, though, you can't say Casillas didn't earn the kiss. Casillas would have more to celebrate in the future, as he would eventually lead Spain to retain their European Championship while becoming the first team to do so. He also continued playing on the club side for quite a while, only retiring in 2020 and reportedly heading back to Real Madrid for an advisor role. Second, an awkward Joe Namath interview. Joe Namath is a pretty unpredictable guy. The former Jets quarterback is known for taking the team to the championship and only the 3rd Super Bowl ever played, but he is also known for some other things, such as his outlandish fur coat. And during one interview, Namath was definitely leaning towards the outlandish side. The question was something about how the Jets were doing right now, but Namath didn't pay too much attention to that. Instead, he went for the more awkward route of just telling the reporter he wanted to kiss her. Probably not the answer that she or the TV network was expecting. Turns out Namath was drunk during that interview, which probably played a part in him showing more confidence than usual that night. Next, David Nelson and a Cowboys cheerleader. Well, this one might have you scratching your head at first glance. David Nelson was a receiver for the Buffalo Bills at the time and scored a touchdown against the Dallas Cowboys, but shortly afterwards, he ran across the field to one of the Cowboys cheerleaders before giving her a hug and the ball from a touchdown. There's actually an explanation here, though. This cheerleader is Nelson's girlfriend, even if she was cheering for the other team. Nelson himself is from Texas, but based on his girlfriend being a cheerleader for the Cowboys, it looks like he just couldn't talk her into moving across the country to follow him in Buffalo. But at least her being a cheerleader for the Cowboys gave us this nice moment. Next, we have Alexander Zinchenko. For this one, we have to go to the Ukrainian national soccer team. They had just won a match against Serbia 5-0 in European qualifiers, and player Alexander Zinchenko was understandably in a good mood once the match concluded. That was pretty obvious when it came to the post-match interview, where Zinchenko kissed the reporter. She didn't seem bothered by it either. If anything, her reaction seemed like one that someone had a crush. All things considered, that's pretty understandable. After all, Zinchenko does play for Manchester City, one of the top clubs in Europe. He has 33 appearances for the Ukrainian national team, so he's probably a pretty well-known and liked face for fans in the country. Then there are UFC weigh-ins. Before every event in the UFC, the fighters have to weigh in to make sure that they're within the proper weight limits for the fight. Naturally, these fighters don't wear many clothes when doing it. Clothes only add extra weight, so fighters typically wear the minimum when they get on the scale. During one of these weigh-ins, a female event staff member seemed to enjoy keeping her eyes on the muscle-bound fighters as they undressed and showed off on the scales. And considering it's in the UFC, there was quite a lot of muscle on display for her. Safe to say that most of the fighters at the weigh-ins are happy to show off. The weigh-ins are a spectacle in their own right, after all, with the fighters participating in face-offs and flexing for the crowd a couple of nights before the event itself. Next up, Adrian Peterson and Xbox. Adrian Peterson is one of the NFL's favorite running backs, and back in the day, the NCAA football series was one of the favorite sports games of players everywhere. To mark the release of one of these games, EA gave a customized Xbox and a copy of the game to Peterson at an event. The real entertainment, however, came during the TV interview that followed. The reporter was more than willing to flirt with Peterson, and Peterson smoothly used the game to flirt back. These days, Peterson is still around the league, but the NCAA football series has been discontinued by EA now for years. The last release happened in 2013, and there's been no news for a while about whether or not we'll get to see another entry into the series. So for Xbox player Adrian Peterson, the wait for another college football game has just been as long as it has been for the rest of us. Well, let's talk about Jimmy Garoppolo. Jimmy Garoppolo received one of the biggest contracts in the NFL after making the move from the Patriots to the 49ers. But the quarterback isn't just good on the field. He's also pretty charismatic off of it. Showed that off during an interview following the 49ers' 8-0 start that season. He called the reporter "baby" and flashed her a charismatic smile while walking off the field after the interview. The 49ers went on to lose only 3 more games that season, going to the Super Bowl, and Garoppolo had a pretty good season himself where he threw for almost 4,000 yards. However, they didn't go all the way as they were defeated by Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. Garoppolo can probably comfort himself by knowing that even if his team loses in the Super Bowl, he won't have to worry about having trouble with the ladies. He's pretty successful in that area, and several women have been speculated to be dating Jimmy G in recent years. Next up, Luke Rockhold. Well, once again, we go back to the UFC for this one. It's not that surprising, though. In a sport where having the best physique is a key to victory, and where some fighters show off their muscles and form in the octagon, it's not all that surprising that some flirting happens. And if you had to name someone that fits the good-looking UFC fighter archetype the most, well, it might be Luke Rockhold. Rockhold has done modeling after all and is consistently rated as one of the best-looking fighters in the sport. This moment happened in the build-up to a fight between Rockhold and Lyoto Machida, but in this interaction between Rockhold and a reporter, the most memorable thing wasn't the talk about the upcoming fight. He had a mock face-off with the reporter, but the romantic tension was a little too strong here. Rockhold won the fight against Machida, so maybe it's safe to say the flirting here brought out some good luck. And then there's that time Rafael Nadal turned down a proposal. There's a lot of people out there that would like to marry an athlete, and the more famous an athlete is, the more suitors they usually have. Rafael Nadal is one of the most famous tennis players in the world, so it's not surprising that he has a few fans that would be willing to take his hand in marriage. However, it doesn't seem like Nadal was ready to settle down when this moment happened, especially not with a random stranger. That was to the disappointment of one fan who yelled out a marriage proposal to Nadal during a match. But it's not all bad for her, because Nadal at least noticed her and laughed it off. That fan will find that her window to get with the tennis star has now closed, because Nadal married girlfriend Maria Francisca Perello in 2019. The wedding happened at a 350-person ceremony in Majorca, Spain, and anyone else wanting to marry Nadal will have already missed their chance to make it happen. Last but not least, invading the field. The field of play at any sporting event is meant for, well, the ones playing the game. The teams are most of the time pretty intent on keeping fans from getting onto the field, and security is good at their job, well, most of the time. But no one is perfect, and even trained security slips up from time to time when it comes to keeping fans from getting to players. That happened during one MLB game where a woman was able to rush to the batter's box before getting caught by security, all because she wanted to give the Orioles player that was at the bat a hug. She did get the hug, but it came at a cost. It doesn't seem likely that the MLB will welcome her back to another game after pulling off this stunt one time. On the other hand, not many people can say they've been able to hug their favorite player while on the field. But if you want to meet a Major League Baseball player, there are more effective ways to do so that don't involve running from security and getting banned from going to games in the future. So it's safe to say that at the end of the day, this one wasn't the smartest choice for the woman that pulled it off. Anyways, that's all for this list of the biggest flirting moments in sports. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.